Hi, and welcome to the 13th Muse on the Introvert Biz Growth podcast, the show where I talk to introverts who grow their business and make a difference. I'm Sarah Santacroce. I'm the host on this podcast. And if you're new here, then I want you to know that this is not the usual format of my regular episodes. I post a new show every other Friday, and it's always a conversation with a fellow introverted entrepreneur who uses his or her introverted superpowers to make a difference. These shows are edited by Tim, my professional podcast editor, who also creates amazing show notes pages. But today's a Muse, unedited raw content, so there's no intro music, as you have noticed, no bells, no whistles. And I share these muses to make you think, to inspire you to break the rules, and to eventually invite you to the gentle business revolution when it's ready. And today is the day. It's ready. The first part of the gentle business revolution is ready. And in today's Muse, I want to tell you more about it. But I need to start at the beginning and give you some context. So, let me go back a few years. I grew up in a peace and love environment that we called the Columbina, a community living experience co-owned by my parents and their friends. It was an apartment building with 6 apartments. Each family had their own apartment, but we spent many hours in other people's places or in the common garden. It was very normal to me, but abnormal to everyone else. I remember my boyfriend at the time, I was 14, giving me weird looks when people would just walk into our front door asking for salt or eggs or whatever else that you were missing for their recipe. Again, it was just completely normal to me, but as a teenager, it was also embarrassing. In this community, I was taught early on that I was very privileged to be born in a society that has everything, and that this privilege came with a responsibility. Take care of our world and take care of those who are not as privileged as me. Once a week, my parents, for example, invited a refugee to have lunch with us and learn some German, which is my mother tongue. The grown-ups, so the parents of all the 6 different families, they also held monthly meetings to discuss current topics and take decisions together, like who's in charge of the garden, should we invest in a new bike shed, would cat owners please clean up the kids' sandpit, etc., etc. Everything was decided in a very democratic way. Notes were taken and people were held accountable. Yes, there was sometimes tension that even we kids noticed, but it really taught me that a community is very precious and everything can be figured out in a very civil way. And no, there were no drugs involved, just in case you were wondering. We didn't walk around naked, contrary to the beliefs of our elderly neighbors. There was actually rumors going around that, since we were seen as hippies, they thought that we were running around in our houses naked. So as early as kindergarten, I was really this quiet leader. I started with our neighborhood kids club, including my sister and the other 3 kids of the house, continued throughout my school years, where I took over the leading role for projects, and then it became one of my main roles as an entrepreneur. Over the past 12 years, I have coached and mentored entrepreneurs and business owners and helped them get clarity and outside of the box thinking to achieve their marketing and business goals. As an entrepreneur, I made the decision a few years ago to specialize in helping my clients get clients on LinkedIn. It was a good decision. I don't regret it one moment, but I'm also a very curious person. And it has become clear to me that 2 years ago, that LinkedIn wasn't going to be all I do for the rest of my working life, which is why I started this podcast, the Introvert Biz Growth Show, at the beginning of 2016. I didn't have a business plan. I just knew that I wanted to talk to fellow introverted entrepreneurs about how they are making a difference and grow their business. Around the same time, I turned 40 and had my midlife unraveling, as Brené Brown likes to call it. I did some personal work with a therapist and remember this one particular session where, in tears, I told her, it's so effing hard to be different. You know that I don't usually swear, but this expression just needed the F word. If I had to summarize my experience in business in one word, then different would definitely be it. I always felt that I was different from everyone else out there. I felt that I was not tough enough. I felt that I was not pushy enough in my marketing. I felt that I did not belong. I felt that I didn't have enough accolades next to my name. I felt like my English was not good enough. I felt like I didn't have the same energy everyone else seemed to have. And I felt like I wasn't worthy of charging those high rates I saw other people using. And this fear really held me hostage for many years. And out of fear of being different or being rejected, I changed who I was and I tried to be like everyone else just to fit in. And then in an epiphany moment, the term gentle business revolution came to me. Really, all my life, I had been a nonconformist, a rebel. I moved out from my parents to live in Paris for a year at 18 and then never moved back home. I never went to university. It felt too confining. I had a tiny wedding with a small group of friends in Barcelona, the city where I met my husband while traveling. I had kids early when everyone else was still in the rat race. And then I started my own business at the age of 30. So over and over again, I did things differently. And yet in business and marketing, I seemed to just comply. But no more. I knew I could no longer wear the mask and fake it and apply everyone else's templates. I was ready to be the leader of a paradigm shift in business and marketing. With all the non-gentleness going on in the world right now, I think the time is right for a paradigm shift. I guess to me, the opposite of gentle is tough. Expressions that come up for me are she's a tough businesswoman, or business is tough, or it's business, not personal, or it's just business. All of them have nothing to do with being gentle. And so I see it really as my mission to prove that one can be successful in business by being gentle, not tough, by being personal, not just business. And one of my subscribers recently sent me this sentence: throughout the years, my experience of you has been that of a benign presence. And according to Wikipedia, because I had to look it up, this is what benign means: gentle and kind. And yeah, that's exactly who I want to be in business: gentle and kind, not tough. Gentle, kind, and fair. And the other thing I realized, I was tired of acting as a lone wolf. As an introvert, I thought it was just my modus operandi until I joined a group of like-minded peers who shared similar goals and aspirations. It's when I realized how much I was missing these community values that were instilled to me by my parents. So really, I'm coming full circle, and I'm so excited to introduce the Gentle Business Alliance to you. The Gentle Business Alliance is a global community of women and men with common values who come together and support one another in all areas of life and business. We have two main goals: living a meaningful life and making the world a better place. And we use business to achieve the latter. We believe that when we thrive, the world thrives. And in order to do so, we must focus on the core aspects of our human experience: learning, growing, elevating, and expanding together. Our way of making an impact is by bringing more empathy and kindness to the business world. We are very much aligned with B Corp's tagline, a global movement of people using business as a force for good. So we create win-win-win situations: win for the world, win for the customer, and win for ourselves. We are interested in creating sustainable businesses, not just to create wealth for ourselves, but to really make an impact and make this world a better place. I really think business is ready for a revolution, a gentle revolution. So who is this for? The Gentle Business Alliance is for you, online entrepreneur or business owner who is seeking to do business differently in a more gentle way. You believe in collective intelligence, community, and helping each other grow. Maybe you have been in business for a few years already, but are tired of the same old. Maybe you're a new business owner, but see the power in the community. You're looking for more meaning. You are looking to grow your business to make a bigger impact, not just for yourself, but for humanity. You want to show up authentically. You are so good at what you do, you just can't stand the pain of marketing and selling your services in this overcrowded online world where it seems that everyone is judging everyone and we've completely lost track of what matters most, the human connection. It's all just too hard and you are tired of being a lone wolf. That's when you know that you're a good fit for the Gentle Business Alliance because you'll get permission to do business in a gentle way, your way. So in January of this year, I launched a building block of the Gentle Business Revolution, a new kind of marketing program that I called anxiety-free marketing. And in the next Muse, I'll tell you more about joining me for the second beta test round of anxiety-free marketing in May. But back to January. So 10 brave souls took me up on my invite and joined me on this journey. And we spent 10 weeks together to co-create this program. And we laughed and we cried and we co-created. And together, we really also birthed the Gentle Business Alliance. Whit Raymond was one of the participants, and I'm super excited to share this interview that I recorded yesterday with him, where he shares his experience on being part of this program. Hi, Whit. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks very much. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, so fun to do this with you. So, as you know, I've prepared some questions that I want to ask you about this experience, that this journey really that we went through together, and just kind of how, the transformation happened for you. And maybe you can put that in words, and maybe I know actually it's quite challenging because sometimes these things take a little time to actually, show themselves, like, oh, this is what, this was me before and this is me now. But hopefully my questions will help a bit. Okay. So I want to start by asking how you felt about marketing before the program.
I was I thought about this. I was much more afraid, I'll be honest. I would go through spurts where I get very excited about marketing and in terms of reaching out and putting things out there, and I go through these periods, but generally speaking, fear would come in and hold me back a lot more. And so I would say I just had a lot of fear at times about it, just because it didn't feel comfortable to me. It really didn't feel comfortable. It was always something I had to push at.
Okay. So was it fear of being rejected, something that we talked quite a lot about in the program, or was it fear of being judged, or can you describe that fear?
Two. One was, yes, the fear of rejection. I really discovered that during the course. It was something that just came out more strongly, and I was really caught off guard, and I was going, oh, wow, there it is, like this fear. And we talked about how normal that is, but I certainly, when I started to personalize it, I realized, yeah, I was afraid. And it was about rejection. And I realized I designed all my marketing up to that point to avoid setting myself up for rejection. Mm-hmm. And so I had a strategy, and I said, I'm limiting myself by that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think what your case was quite a special compared to maybe some of the other participants. You're the only one who's marketing to people in corporate situations, right?
Yes.
And so do you think like this kind of corporate setting increased the fear because there's certain expectations maybe on how you behave as a executive coach?
Maybe so. The last 15 years I've been in finance, so I'm sort of embedded in that. Before that, I was doing a lot of smaller companies and individuals before that. So I have a little bit of a difficulty going back to remember what it was like. I do think there is something about the corporate. At the same time, if I'm invested in who I am and want to be accepted or received, like, yes, Whit, I'd love to work with you. There's always that risk of being turned down. And when intellectually I go, oh, I get it. Yeah. What does they say? Every rejection is one step closer to, an acceptance.
Right.
And I get that mentally, but that still doesn't mean that certain times that my gut will go, oops, and catch myself.
Right. I'm bringing that up because it certainly happened for myself where, as you know, we kind of co-created this program, right? And I went through it at the same time you guys did. And so what happened for me is I really started realizing that whatever work I do on LinkedIn, I always felt like I had to be different on LinkedIn. Like I had to put up my mask and be this really professional woman, right? And I realized that I think it was Lisa, the another participant, who reminded me that even if it's LinkedIn, it's still people. We're still talking to people, and I think that is such an important reminder that whoever our client is, they're all just people, persons, humans, right?
Yeah. Related to that, and it's a really good point. I think related to that is while we're all people, I also, before the program, while I said I was clear about my purpose and what I was doing, what my services, and I've gone through many iterations of articulating that, it was always still a stumbling block because I always wondered about how the other person would be hearing me or receiving me when I would talk about that.
Right.
So I would tend to shy away from putting myself out there a little bit more in terms of that. I'd work on the relationship and not really take a stronger voice of putting myself forward.
Yeah. And that's another thing we worked on, the values and
Yes.
did all these personality tests to really use that also in our marketing, and, whether it is marketing towards corporates or small business owners or healers, or it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
It's still us. Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah.
So share with us what happened as you went through the process. What kind of, feelings came up, and celebration of milestones, but then also, blocks in the road. How did you go through this process?
Well, number one, I want to say I love the fact that there was a structure, and it helped me for accountability, just knowing that each week that there was stuff to do. I think that created a very nice structure to carry me through the process. And I realized that there was a big difference between knowledge about marketing and knowledge of using LinkedIn or what's on the website. And that was useful. There were some great ideas I got from that. But what I realized and developed over time was the realization that my inner voice was the most important, untapped area. And I wanted to find a stronger sense of my own voice and how I would connect. So rather than being outside there, which we talked a lot about in the sessions, with being out there and what are you trying to do to other people, is more like, who do I want to connect with, but also what do I want to share with them? That was an important part of my process. We also had a session on integrity, and I love that one. The one on integrity was really about me standing up more for finding what was important to me and what do I like and don't like. And part of the reason why I did not like marketing before, I had a lot of shoulds and a lot of gotta do's. And what happened in the course was realize, no, what is it that I want? What do I like doing? What do I want to do?
Right.
And I even said to you recently, I sent you a note, like I had a very similar reaction on LinkedIn. I can't stand all these postings I'm on because I feel like I'm being like everybody else and there's nothing distinctive. And I said, it doesn't feel right. So I stopped. And I said, it doesn't feel right. So I listened to that voice or that point of view or feeling. Yeah. And that was really, really important for me. Another area that was really big for me was about purpose. And while I've always been big on purpose, we had a lot of discussions, and it seemed to come back to that a lot for me. I loved hearing the variety of people. There's a lot of talent in that group, and just the way the whole sessions went, and being able to talk about purpose, talk about integrity, talk about marketing, hearing the different ideas of people who are very accomplished and very skilled and had a lot of experience. I just felt it was uplifting for me. It was encouraging. It was also challenging. I had a little bit of a speed bump. Sometimes I go, whoa, where do I stand against these people? So I felt a little bit, sometimes I catch my confidence might linger, drop a little bit. But the environment that was created was so supportive, and the people on it were there. So that was very important for me. I think that was very important.
Right.
Let me pause there. I don't want to see if this is on line with where you're
Yeah,
going.
no, that's exactly, I think you're describing what I think probably all the other people would agree. There's these ups and downs, and then there's the comparison that comes in again, but we talked about that as well, right? How each of us has a different definition of success, and that's why, we can't really compare because we're not comparing the same things. And so, this makes a lot of sense. And obviously, yes, purpose was purpose, meaning, passion. They all go together. And I think what created the safe space for people to share is that we're all able to be very vulnerable. And I actually shared that, I just recently found my purpose or meaning, because it doesn't just happen like that. Like sometimes, you don't know what your passion is or your purpose. And I think that's fine. I think there's too much kind of buzz around, you got to find your passion and all of that. Of course, that's the ideal situation, but it's not everybody who has a business is just, wakes up one morning and says, oh, this is my passion or my purpose. But once we kind of start doing that work and start to see how it really helps to integrate that into our marketing, that's when stuff gets really powerful, right?
Yeah, it really does. There was one question related that came up during one of the sessions that stayed with me, which was, how do I connect each of the things that I'm doing in my marketing, my products, my services, to my purpose? Mm-hmm. And I was realizing, while the elements were there, I wasn't consciously making that connection. And as I thought about it more, I started to feel more excited, more powerful in terms of like, oh, this is why I'm doing it, because I know what I'm passionate about. I know what drives me. Yeah. But I had stopped connecting them to the different services or the different areas of my business, and also to who I want to reach out to. Right. Because I want to reach the people that care about what I care about. And if they don't, God bless them, they can go on. But that's not where I want. I want to be with the people who want to work with wit.
Yeah, exactly.
And that I want to work with.
And so in order to get those people, you need to be more wit, because otherwise, if you're copying everybody else's templates and strategies and shoulds, then the people that you're supposed to be working with, they don't get you because you're not communicating that, right?
That's right. Yeah. And there's a little bit of, and I don't mean this to sound cynical, but there's a little bit of a game. It feels like to me, this is how it comes across to me, of you should be posting, you should be putting things up. So what was happening was everybody's sharing other people's notes, and once in a while, and you've said this to me many times, you got to put out your own points of view. You've got to show up personally on there, which is so valid. But I think in the rush of trying to market and do that, I got disconnected from that.
Yeah, it became an automatism or automism. How do you call that? An automation.
Yeah, automation.
Yeah.
I was automatic. It was like I was driven by this process rather than saying.
And then it's no longer coming from you. Right. Yeah.
And one of the areas that I'm still working on, which I love because it's clear, is I am working. What is the particular point of view I want to bring in my writing and in my posting? And not worry as much about what other people, but what is that I want to do? And I have a notion of it. I'm starting to work. I'm getting clearer about it. But I had to slow down to do that. I need some mental space just to incubate and work with this stuff. And I think I got a lot from that during this program. Although I wish the pacing had been a little bit longer, as we discussed. Right. There'd be a little bit longer time between the sessions. That's been,
Yeah. I think one point you made also was the permission, giving ourselves permission to stop with the shoulds and you should be everywhere. And you know, it's like just focus, find the one platform where you feel comfortable, and don't be pressured by everybody else and all the things they're telling you that you should be doing. And, you know, we talked a lot about sales pages and, you know, should they really be that long? Well, no, maybe you change the rules and you make much shorter sales pages. And that's just one example. But yeah, giving ourselves permission to do marketing our way, that feels good.
Yes, and we even, I love the fact that when we talked about those about pages, for example, there was some people said, well, I think that's a little bit too long. And other people, a couple of times people said it was too long. I was going, no, I actually personally, I like some pages long because I really got a sense of who they were. It pulled me in.
Right.
So
Yeah.
everybody's different.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. And I think what's most important is that people, any of us who are marketing ourselves, put out what is meaningful for us.
Yeah, because you're attracting like-minded people. And so if you want long, then most likely your ideal clients want long as well, because they want a lot of details and really understand you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's happened, or what is happening now after the course? What do you see, you know, integrating? Like one example you already shared, you're like, well, yeah. I stopped publishing those small updates because they just don't feel natural to me anymore. So good for you. You know, you gave yourself permission.
that was a big one. Yeah, that was important. And so I'd say there's two other things that I'm doing. One is I'm doing a lot of networking, and it really becomes another opportunity for me just to experiment with how I share what's important to me, how I connect with people, and then really put out there what's important to me. Right. So I'm using this networking as an opportunity to keep working on honing that. That's really...
So you found your one platform in a way, because networking, real life networking, and we talked about that in the promotion module, is one of the options to share about yourself.
Absolutely. As is LinkedIn.
Yeah,
or if I'm using other platforms, they are. I happen to like the LinkedIn, and the work that you and I had done to build that foundation was really critical for me. I mean, it was like building a new engine that I didn't have before, a new vehicle. And then I've always been a fan of networking. It's just me. It's just that I've upped it to a significant level now. And I'm having a ball. It's a blast. It's very, very exciting. It's interesting to be doing it. I'm just meeting some wonderful people. It's been really, it's been very good. What else is happening after the course is, I'm still working, as I mentioned, about trying to find out what I can share about my ideas. I have so many people who say, why haven't you written 3 or 4 books? And a couple of people. And I have not done that because of all my experience. And so that's been a motivator for me to really look at what could I be doing. The course really reinforced that, because it made me stop and think about how many opportunities I have let go because of either I was afraid, I was uncomfortable, or I avoided. And I don't want to miss those now. I really don't. I'm trying to be more efficient with my time.
Look forward to that book.
Hey, there you go.
What about the community, our group? What kind of role did that play?
It was big. It was big. I love the community. So I'm such a big fan. I actually just wrote down something which is, to me, a lot of change happens in community, whether you call that organizations, teams, so I was thinking about that we had many minds, many hearts, and many talents in our group. And the mixture of that, we really got some momentum going. And I love the fact that the group, while it was very supportive, it kept us at our edges. We were always looked at, where's our edge, where are there, and mine might be different than yours or other people's, but I like the fact that we all shared the space, you know, the room, so we could all have our own ideas and thoughts that we could put out there. But we're all, you could feel in the room that there was a tempo. And I think a lot of it was the way you set that up, Sarah, with your questions and how you did it. I think it pulled us toward our edges. And I think over time we got more and more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
So, and I also love the fact that anytime anybody seemed to be maybe in self-doubt or not sure, there was immediate ability, either you or somebody would pick up on that to try to make sure that we keep everybody going. This is a win-win for everybody.
Right. I think what I really liked about our time is so much, it felt so much different from, these kind of Facebook communities that are kind of the trend now, and they make you believe it's a community, but it's still a very, everybody is on their own kind of, you're part of the Facebook group, but it's not like you really know each other. And I think that's what has changed in this group, because we got to be vulnerable with each other, and we really, shared our fears and tough moments. And that is often not the case in other communities, where it's all about just like, rah, let's do this together. And that's needed too. Yeah. But I think what makes really something, where magic happens is when you can share the tough times too.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. And in order to do that, another component, I think we cultivated a lot of care. That to me is essential to a community, that there's got to be some minimal level of caring about each other that you build over time. And it was real clear to me that we did that. I mean, I've started out reaching out to people. I want to talk to each person because on there, I get them in one sense, but I'd like to get familiar with them each in a different way. Yeah. I think that I just would add that to your piece, is the caring that was there. Is right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly what I'm trying to create for the Gentle Business Alliance. So an ongoing group that, where we know that we're not just together for 8 weeks, but we're really together for the year. And I think that's where these partnerships, which is one of the modules, really, that's when amazing things start to happen, because we not only do we care for each other, but we help each other grow. And I think that's really the only way to grow now. So
I also, to that point, I think it's important to say for anybody who's considering this, that people can come in for different reasons. They might come in and they don't want that caring. That's not what they're looking for necessarily, but they're interested in learning.
Right.
Or they're maybe concerned, am I overcommitting to something longer than I want to? I would just say, if you have any interest in trying to learn and want to get the benefits of other people, I'd say join. And then if you decide it doesn't work, you can always adjust, but don't cut it off without giving yourself a shot at it.
I think it's a good reminder to really mention that we're really doing both. We're not just doing the love and empathy and kindness. We're also doing the business, right? We're doing the marketing. We're doing the doing and the being. And I think that's what I want to cultivate in this alliance.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but to me, primary is the business, but I want to do this in a community setting.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But if it wasn't for that, I would not be as interested. I wouldn't be interested. Now, some people might, but.
Yeah, clearly this is still a business group. We're not creating a group of best friends. That's not my aspiration. But it tends to kind of go that way because we just get to know each other that well. But still, business is the first.
Well, let's put it this way: we learn the most when we are human with each other.
Yeah.
The more vulnerable, as you said about vulnerability. That's where we are at our edge, and that's how we do it. So, but we need to be able to feel safe enough with each other to be able to say, here's where I am on some topics.
Great. Thanks so much for taking
You're
the time
welcome.
to share this.
I enjoyed this. It was good. I hope it's helpful.
Thank you. So what does the Gentle Business Alliance include? It includes 2 monthly calls around different marketing/business topics facilitated by me or someone from the group or a guest speaker. It also includes occasional guest speakers, including members of the Alliance, to discuss inspiring topics, facilitated communications and connections through a private, members-only community group on Mighty Networks, which is a separate platform. So I purposely chose not to host this on Facebook because guess what? Facebook creates anxiety and we don't want anxiety. There's also access to member-led conversations about business and personal topics for those interested in participating. Access to the Anxiety-Free Marketing online video course. So I will be recording the Anxiety-Free Marketing content into online videos. Access to the live Anxiety-Free Marketing program in January or September. A mouse pad with the Anxiety-Free mandala that my son Simon designed, and many other things. So the monthly discussions, what are these calls going to be about? Well, a big focus of the Gentle Business Alliance is anxiety-free marketing, because marketing is essential to grow our business and therefore make a bigger impact and make this world a better place. So we'll cover marketing topics such as video marketing, affiliate marketing with integrity, list building, webinars, group programs, sales calls, retreats, podcasting, emails, networking in person, etc., etc. And drawing from the conscious marketing mandala, topics may also include passion, personal power, people, products and services, pricing, promotion, and partnerships. So those are the 7 topics of the mandala. But we also go way beyond just business topics, because besides having a successful business, all members of the Gentle Business Alliance truly care about creating meaningful lives for ourselves, while also making the world a better place. So together we'll also unpack life and world topics, including sustainability, social justice, abundance thinking, the serving mindset, stewardship, our relationships with money, how time and money are related, the environmental impact of our business, love and joy as a marketing tool, fair investing, health and well-being, nurturing strong relationships, spirituality, and so much more. So what else will you get by participating in the Gentle Business Alliance? Well, besides the more structured sessions, you really belong to a global group of like-minded peers where you have the opportunity to be both a student and a teacher, giving and receiving help in uncovering hidden opportunities and generating powerful and meaningful ideas for your life and business. So this is really different than just a Facebook community. I want to just point this out. I think I mentioned it during the interview with Whit. We really get to know each other on a very deep level. So this is not just another Facebook group. How does it work? The Alliance membership is on an annual basis. You can cancel at any time, but there's no refunds. It's really just a yearly commitment. It's an ongoing group. And who else is in the Gentle Business Alliance? Well, the Alliance is a group of maximum 25 conscious entrepreneurs from all over the world. Members of the Alliance come from a broad background of business types, sizes, and growth stages. There is no discrimination depending on revenue in the Alliance. The investment, the annual membership is $2,000, and you can pay on a yearly or a quarterly basis or monthly by request. And even if you do pay quarterly, you're still committed for the year. So it really is a yearly commitment. And when does it start? And officially, it already started, because some of the founding members of the Anxiety-Free Marketing Program will continue on in the Alliance. But I'll be talking to new members as of today. So enrollment is open until we hit 25 members. So the next steps, if your intuition and heart calls you to take your life and business to new heights and think the Gentle Business Alliance would help you do just that, then I'd love to get on a call with you and answer your questions prior to moving forward. I'm also available to discuss the potential of my working with you as your coach outside of the Alliance through private coaching, and that is subject to availability. Membership into the Alliance is on an application basis for those who are new to my work. So just send me an email to request a time to talk and complete some questions beforehand. So my email is Sarah with an H at the end at Sarah Santacroce. So SarahSantacroce.com. So do you want to be gentle, authentic, and successful in your marketing and business, create a meaningful life, and make the world a better place? Then you're one of those people I want to surround myself with. I can't wait to meet you. Thank you so much for listening. And if you know someone who you think might be a good fit for the Gentle Business Alliance, why not share this podcast with them and spread the word about the Gentle Business Revolution? Thank you so much. Take care.